Live on YouTube. Welcome into Football Happy Hour presented by Blitzalytics.com. I'm your host, as always, Rob. That little cartoon down there in the Rams hat, rocking it after the big dub. I love it. I'm so happy. I'm going to cry. And it looks like my audio's working this time, too. So it started out better than this morning's show, Jack. We're going to go around the horn. I'm going to say hi to all my buddies here. Up north, my man, Jack Bourgeois. How you doing, brother?
Best day ever, man. Best day ever.
But yeah, for those that don't remember or didn't tune into TBB, first off, shame on you. Second off, Jack found the dog today that has been out for 5 days, just getting lit, having a party. That's all it was. Just a little alone time.
My baby girl was in the woods for 5 days. It was the worst 5 days of my life. But
I remember when my grandpa was still living, that's what grandma would tell me. Grandpa's been in the woods for 5 days.
He's on the stump whiskey again. Son of a gun.
Over there, right next to me, my boy Countryman. Always in Pittsburgh stuff. Today it looks like Pirates because he just likes to rep that loser team. But how you doing, Roy?
Hey, this is the #1 baseball team. This was in honor of David Connors, making sure that he knows that we're going to be the worst team in baseball. So big props to David Connors. Always got to give a shout out to him. But I'm doing great, Rob. Getting ready to have happy hour here. Need it a little bit in life here.
Exactly. We were about to break it down and have a lot of fun today. Mayo up there in the other corner. How you doing, bro?
Man, first weekend of football. I'm just so happy it's back. I thought that game was going to have me up till 2 a.m. last night. I know I was messaging with you, Rob, saying like my brain's mush, but it's too good to turn off. So that was good. My Colts lost, unfortunately, so a little upset about that. But the team of happy hour, 1-0, Buffalo Bills. Let's go, Bills Mafia.
We did decide to be Bills fans right at the right time, Mafia. We joined that bandwagon right in time to get that W. Me and Roy had a good week. Unfortunately for Jack and Mayo, their teams didn't get the win, so they don't know what it's like to still be on track for 16-0.
It's a bottom line thing here, Rob.
Excuse me?
It's a bottom line. The bottom line thing.
Yeah, bottom line. So we're going to do like we do every week. We're going to hit you with 5 topics split into 4 quarters and overtime. Quarter 1 we are going to get in today. Speaking of the Buccaneers, sorry, Jack. Tom Brady debuted as a Buccaneer. It didn't really go according to plan. It did bring to mind some other great athletes that have switched teams late in their careers. You got guys like Peyton Manning going to Denver, which probably hurt Cody's soul back in the day. Jordan became a Washington Wizard. I got to see Wayne Gretzky play as a Blue. Ken Griffey Jr. was a Red. So that made us think, which NFL players looked weird in their unis? Guys where it just didn't sit right, that's what they were now. So we're going to get into this. We're going to give it 15 minutes on the clock, and we're going to go around the horn and pick out some guys who looked weird in their jerseys. And, Jack, I'm going to start with you, bro.
All right, for me, Jerry Rice played for a bunch of different teams, but he looked so good in either, obviously, red and gold or silver and black, like being in the Bay teams. Again, I'm a Bay native. So I was okay with seeing him that. Once he started switching teams, he went to Seattle, he went to Denver. Like, that was weird for me. Like, that threw me off. I'm sure it did a lot of other people. But that one, like, still just kind of makes me queasy when I think about it. Like, this is the GOAT, man. He should have stayed a Niner forever, for sure. But, I mean, everybody's got to move on. He did play till he was, like, 39 years old. But that
Jerry
was just
could play
weird.
Today. I'm sorry.
That one I didn't
Jerry's
like.
a wide receiver 4 today, guys. He's still in great shape. No, I get you. It was fine when he went to the Bay Area, right, or to the Raiders, because Tim was there, and it was like 2 of the best getting together. I was so excited when Jerry and Tim became a duo for the Raiders, man. Tim Brown was my guy back in the day, so it was awesome to see them 2 to come together. But I'm with you. When he started flip-flopping teams, it just became like an assassin guy. It was just like, not really my cup of tea. So, Cody, again, we have to relive the day that Peyton left you, but who were some other guys?
Oh, yeah, of course, Peyton. That one was stabbed right in the heart, especially to another AFC team and see the success he had. I mean, it was a short time in training camp, but just seeing Reggie Wayne, one of my favorite Colt receivers, in a Patriots uniform, about made me throw up. One that always is, like, I'm just going to go with some random guys. I didn't really pick one. Randy Moss in the Titans uniform. People forget he had a cup of coffee there in Nashville. That was super weird, especially as a Colts fan. And if one more, if I could pick, Actually, Roy, I'll let you go. I'm going to think of some other ones.
Yeah, that Titans Randy Moss one was on my list too. I still, for this day, if you don't show me a picture, I'm like, nuh-uh. And then, wait, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
The other one I forgot really quick. The other one I forgot. I had three in my head. Edgerrin James as a Cardinal. I'm picking all Colts players, but Reggie Wayne, Peyton Manning, and Edgerrin James were like my childhood hero or my teenage year heroes in the 2000s. So him in a Cardinals bright red jersey after killing it in that blue was super weird to me at the end of his career.
The Cardinals have done that to us a couple of times too, right? Because you had that one, then you had Emmitt Smith come on over. It was super weird for me to watch Kurt Warner take the Cardinals to a Super Bowl. Like, the Cardinals have done that to us a few times throughout history. I think they enjoy watching the world burn, as they would say in Batman. Roy, I come to you, man. I know you've got a few.
I do. The first one here, I don't even have listed in here, but it actually just came to me. One of my favorite players growing up, none other than Slash, the original Taysom Hill, Cordell Stewart, in a Bears jersey. This guy was a playmaking fool for the Steelers. So being able to see him in a Bears jersey, and then later on, I think he had like 2 games with the Baltimore Ravens. That was absolutely disgusting. So Cordell Stewart is my first one. The other one, Michael Vick experience. Every time I think of Michael Vick, I think of him in Atlanta, even though he had the unfortunate issue with the dog fighting. But he actually ended up a Pittsburgh Steeler at the end of it. I can't imagine him in black and gold for some reason. I go back to that Madden game and thinking, how the heck could I ever get him over to Pittsburgh? It's just not going to happen. So that was kind of real head scratcher. And finally, this one is real taboo. And I'm going to pick a fight here with James Harrison. How dare you, sir, go to New England and wear New England colors after running 100 and some yards back for an interception? He slept in meetings just to get booted off the team. All kinds of crap, and then you go to New England? Come on, son. Can't be doing that.
Oh, man.
You know, there's one. This is breaking the rules because it doesn't count. But seeing Jerome Bettis in a Rams jersey still kind of makes me
the reverse, right? Right, where
it's a reverse, but you forget about it because Jerome Bettis was the bus, and you think of the bus, you think of yellow, you think of Steelers, you think black and gold. And then you see him in a Rams, and you're like, oh, yeah, that did happen. He did start his career off in the Rams, and they didn't believe in him at all.
No, they played him at fullback.
Yeah.
Look, and you want to talk about the same position in reverse. How about Marshawn Lynch in a Bills uniform?
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's the exact same way. Went to another team, you know him as beast mode in Seattle, just like Jerome Bettis. That's interesting connections right there.
And it's not so weird
to stay away from Homer picks, but you know what's one for me? And I know he didn't even start off as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but he got famous as a Buck like during the good years. Was Joe Juravicius. Seeing him in a Cleveland uniform, it was like, oh man, you've had greener pastures. Like you're going out to be like just shot behind the barn type of deal. He had some of the most amazing catches for the Bucks. Like I know you guys remember that where he tipped it up over the player, turned around, ran and caught it, and then ran in the end zone. Oh, like I think Joe Juravicius is got like a soft spot in my heart. So seeing him in a Browns uniform weirds me out too.
And there's a couple still today. I know OBJ's had a down couple seasons and a really rough month, but he still doesn't look natural in a Browns uniform to me. To have somebody that flashy be a Cleveland Brown doesn't look natural at all for me. When AB went to the Raiders, it just didn't feel right at all to me. I know he didn't ever really, play for you guys, so sorry, Raiders fans, but we got pictures, and those pictures looked weird to me. When Randy Moss became a Raider, it was another time where I was just like, this doesn't fit. This doesn't work, right?
Oh, no.
There's certain teams.
It fit way too well.
No, there's certain teams where
they just sucked.
But there's certain teams that have attitudes built throughout history that when you bring in guys that are different than that attitude, they stick out like a sore thumb. That happened to me. So what are some guys in the league right now that if obviously Patty's not going anywhere. He just got a decade-long extension. So let's not get too cray-cray here. But there's some guys, let's transition it a little bit into current events. You saw Allen Robinson today, for instance. I don't want to be a Bear anymore, essentially, by removing all the Bears pictures off of his Instagram feeds. So who are some guys right now that you would say would look weird in different places because you just got them so associated?
I got one right off the top of my head, and he would look absolutely weird outside being an Arizona Cardinal. Larry Fitzgerald. I can't see him outside Arizona colors right now. It would just be absolutely awkward. Maybe Minnesota because his dad, like he was a ball boy there, but nah, that would just be awkward seeing Larry Fitz outside of the Cardinal colors.
That's a big one because to me, he is. When you say we can make lists, right, of all the teams in the NFL, and me and Jack looked at this a couple weeks back at on the Blitz breakdown, where you're going through the lists of best people on teams. Like Larry Fitz is the Cardinals to me. So if he does go somewhere else or were to go somewhere else, that would be super weird. It hurt my soul to watch Todd Gurley this week as an Atlanta Falcon because I'm a Rams fan and a Gurley guy. So that one hurt my soul. Are there any more for you guys that maybe hurt this season that you saw? Like, let me ask you, Cody. Let's take a different perspective on it. How weird was it to see Phillip Rivers as a Colt for you as a Colt fan?
It was super weird, and I got the full experience first game, so I don't know if I want to talk about it. But
I still got hope. Brady threw the ball beautifully this last weekend.
I still got hope too. I got hope too. It was just 2 errant throws. Other than that, Rivers was great. He moved the ball.
Your only hope is to hand the ball off to JT and dump it off to Naheem Hines because that just did not look good by Phillip Rivers at all.
First off, I'm going to take a second.
The interceptions were terrible.
If you guys haven't kept up, Cody told you for months to have Naheem Hines on your fantasy rosters for months. So he is not surprised at all about Naheem. No. We'll get that out now.
I'm doing this because for months he also was telling me that Phillip Rivers is going to be the next Buccaneers quarterback, and he drilled that into me all off season long. And it was just like, it was hurting to where he was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Everybody's willing into existence. He's the perfect BA quarterback, this, and that. I got Brady, and he got stuck with Rivers. That's what you get, sucker.
Hey, as far now, they both got the same amount of interceptions and wins, so let's see where this plays out.
They both have one more loss than Jared Goff does. Count it. Let's talk about another guy who switched teams. Let's talk about Cam Newton, the Patriot, real quick, and how weird that was to see a running quarterback, one, and then a fun guy, two, running quarterback for the New England Patriots. Let's go around the horn real quick, and Jack, I'm going to start with you. What was it like to see numero uno out there as a Pat?
Honestly, that was the most intriguing Pats game I've ever watched. Like, I wanted to watch that. That's the only Pats game I've ever wanted to watch. Even their Super Bowls, I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to see them win, like at just the slim chance. But I was very intrigued to see what Josh McDaniels and Cam Newton could do together. And it's the perfect marriage, especially because they don't have to pay him next year. This isn't some long-term investment. If he can't hold up for a whole season, then they don't have to pay him. But if he holds up, they're probably playoff bound like this. But then again, we're talking about they played Miami, so-and-so. But Cam Newton looked amazing. So I don't care what uniform he's looking at. I'm eating crow because I was on that Jared Stidham bandwagon. I didn't think Cam Newton was going to be healthy. Cam Newton's healthy, and he's going to tear up the AFC East. I'm excited to see what him and Josh Allen do when they go head to head.
It absolutely stung to know that the Patriots aren't dead yet watching that game. That was probably the worst part of week one.
That's how I was, because I'm a big Cam fan, and watching him be back, I was just like, oh, this is so great, but this sucks. This sucks. I'm like, they're good. They're still good. I thought they were going to go away.
But it's Miami, and Miami almost beat them.
I don't think Miami's as bad as people think. Miami's not as bad as people think.
They need to get Tua under center. They need to get Tua in there.
They're not that bad, but also, it doesn't mean that the Patriots are that good.
They didn't beat the freaking Chiefs. Yeah, no doubt.
No way. Yeah, there's no way against the Chiefs or the Ravens that they can run that offense. And, they had, 14 points going into, the last few minutes of the fourth quarter until everything went down and went to hell for Miami. There's no way they win that game against playing that style. They need to be able to open up the offense, and I don't know if they have the pass catchers to do it.
I don't either, but I'll tell you what, it was fun because Cam Newton had more yards in one game than Tom Brady has the last 2 seasons as a Patriot combined. I love it. I love seeing it's completely different, right? And again, I hate the Patriots, but I'm with Jack. It was legitimately kind of fun to see them be completely different. So, Roy, go ahead, man.
Hey, for me, it seems like Cam Newton might be rubbing off a little bit on Mr. Belichick for his Subway commercial. Actually,
that
kicking it
Subway
up, having some fun.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's nice to see him not so stoic and not the guy that blew past me in the tunnel there in Indianapolis and not even wanted to really think that he's not a hobo. So just to see a little bit of fun and not be a jerk for once, I guess it was kind of nice to see Belichick like that.
I mean, they looked like they were having a good time. They did. I hate to give them any props, but they looked like they were having fun. That spike from Cam was just a shot to Gronk's heart. So, I love it.
Spike doesn't have to be personal. Everybody spikes the ball. That doesn't mean it's necessarily towards Gronk.
That was spiking the old regime. That was very symbolic.
Okay.
I guess, you can find whatever you're looking for. So, any other ones that bothered you throughout history, switching teams? Like, we've got a couple minutes here if we want to throw out some honorable mentions.
I think the king of all of them, Rob, it was the low-hanging fruit none of us took, Brett Favre.
The first thing he did when he left was show his wiener. So, let's go to New York and just
family
send out
show.
DPs.
Rob, family show. You got to have at least one family show. Come on now.
I didn't say he showed his Richard. I used the wiener. I used the scientific term. But no, Brett Favre was a big one. That one was low hanging fruit that nobody took. Anybody else got anything?
LT.
I feel like the Broncos. Though we've talked about the Broncos stealing players a few times. I hated seeing John Lynch as a Bronco. I hated it.
Joe Montana, the Chief. How about that?
Ryan Dawkins in Denver.
Yeah.
Mr. Philadelphia.
Yeah, that one stung a little bit.
How about
I got a predictor one. Aaron Rodgers as a 49er.
Ooh, baby. Bro, don't let that happen. Please,
man.
God. As an NFC West fan, please don't let A-Rod be the fourth quarterback coming into this. Like, I want the Rams to win games, guys.
I don't know. After this last game, there's no way Aaron Rodgers is leaving Green Bay. Unless he completely
Not
yet.
Not yet.
They're contractually obligated for it to happen in the next 4 years.
Let's
be real, guys.
Yeah, a year or two. Let's talk.
But
hey,
when they can Jimmy G's contract,
come back to this show
this season.
Yeah. So I like it. Well, what about you, Roy? Any late bloomers here you want to talk about? Because again, there have been months. We got 30 seconds. It's not like we got all day.
LT is one for me. Even the Chargers in the powder blue, then seeing them in the Jets, that was gross.
Yeah.
That was gross.
It's all
powder blue all day.
Anytime you see any good player in a Jets uniform, it's gross. Sorry, Quinn and Williams.
Le'Veon Bell's career is defined as good, and then the Jets. So it's
his hamstrings. It could be worse. You could be pulling both of your calves trying to kick a field goal.
Oh, Gosty. Yeah, that was insane last night. Let's move in. That'll do it for quarter one.
Man.
Yeah, that poor guy. No crowd noise, and you could hear him drop an F-bomb. Kind of liked it, dude. It was kind of fun. Let's get into quarter number 2. We're going to call this one, Roy gave it a great name. It's called 3 and Out, guys. Here's more football terms here. Give us each 3 things that you saw this weekend in the slate of games. Again, me and Jack talked about how close most of the games were, sans Cleveland getting waxed by the Ravens. So let's go around the horn, and I'll start with you this time, Cody. Let's give me some things. And you guys want to do all 3 at once, or go once and then around the horn?
We can go once.
Let's go once and around the horn, and we'll start with you then, Cody.
Yeah, I already kind of hinted at it with my last little hot take there at the end of the last quarter. Jimmy G is haunted by that missed throw from the Super Bowl. He was off all day. His timing with his receivers, he let balls sail all day, led to interceptions, led to George Kittle getting hurt, who might have to miss this week. And I'm saying Jimmy G is shaken, and he's going to be the biggest reason why it's going to hold the 49ers back this year. So if he doesn't get things straight, I don't know what their answer is going to be on offense, especially with the lack of weapons.
I was verbally assaulted by Jack today when I said on Hot Take Time that they wouldn't make the playoffs. That's how the show went out today. I said, no 49ers in the playoffs, and Jack was personally offended. So I'm with you.
How dare you?
Yeah, but it's true. Jimmy G looked kind of crappy, man. And
it was bad.
It was bad. There were no wide
receivers.
Right.
You kind of need wide receivers.
Yeah.
And, I mean, those are guys that are on the practice squad and the second and third team.
Hey, in comes Mohamed Sanu. Let's see what he got left.
There you go. There you go.
Absolutely
At least,
nothing left. Because
the Niners will have a solid number 2 or number 3 wide receiver to fill in that number 1 slot because they lost 5 wide receivers to
OBJ
IR.
hot word. He said a solid number 2. Countryman, let's come to you then for something you learned this weekend.
Hey, I'd be remiss if I don't go with my Pittsburgh team. Big Ben is back. Let's go. Monday Night Football. But I should say, let's not be surprised James Conner got hurt. But no, Big Ben is back, even though he had to play up the little bit of a kneecapping that he got with a defensive lineman, make all Steeler Nation have a slight palpitation. But 3 touchdowns. He looked like he shook the rust off by the second half, especially after the second quarter before halftime, driving him down for a touchdown. It was nice to see him back out slinging the ball around. For the Steelers to get a W. Wasn't the prettiest game. Got to give the Giants a lot of credit for their defense, especially in the run game. But it was good to see him out and back healthy, throwing the ball around.
What's scary is if that offense can click like it has in the past with as good as that defense is. Telling you what, I'm on that bandwagon. Steelers winning this division because I just like to see Jack get mad at me for my hot takes. For me, what I learned was I was right about this Rams backfield. And eventually Cam Akers will take it. Not this week. I'm telling you that. Not after what Malcolm Brown did this week. He looked really good. We still have Henderson who's going to get a little bit of run. I factored Henderson a little bit more in the equation than he was this week. But for the next few weeks, guys, don't expect Cam to just get all the carries. That's not how we're going to do it. It's RBBC for at least a little bit, and it showed. Although I did see flashes in Cam. Every now and then there was a look where it was just, okay, he'll get that in a couple weeks. He'll hit that hole and he'll be gone. So chill out, be patient, Rams fans, but it's not happening right now. Jack, I come to you. What is something you learned this week?
Patience. Patience is a virtue. Tom Brady still has all the arm talent in the world. If you guys watch, it's the throws that didn't happen. It was the pass interferences down the field where basically if it was Williams or if it was Lattimore, they're basically having to tackle the wide receiver before the ball got there just to save their butts from allowing an obvious or a blatant touchdown. But he was extremely accurate beyond 20 yards. He had no problem getting the ball there. There was definitely the two negatives. There was quite a couple negatives. You know, he had an intentional grounding call, which again isn't his fault. We'll get to that in one of these next segments once we get back to Roy. Roy, I love your next one. By the way, it's going to be the downfall of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But patience. It's only week 1. They will all get better. But what I seen was when he was driving the ball, it was near perfection. The Scotty Miller one down to the right side, the Mike Evans one to the left. The very first drive, he threw a dime piece over the shoulder to Chris Godwin. There was a lot to be excited about. That first drive was amazing. That was probably the greatest drive for a Buccaneers fan of all time. Like, I don't think we've ever been more excited after that first drive. He was just dink and dunk and drove it down the field with perfection. There was negatives, and he is going to take. Obviously, I think we disrespected the game by thinking that, it's Brady's the greatest of all time. He's going to have no problem just picking this offense up because, the New England runs everything. No, this is not only a sophisticated offense, this is a hard offense on quarterbacks. Like this is probably the toughest offense to learn for any quarterback. And so we did see a little bit of Jameis from Tom Brady. We did see 2 picks, which is very, very rare. And I have a feeling that Tom Brady's probably going to throw a career-high interceptions this year. It still will probably only be half of what Jameis threw, if not less. But I would not be surprised if he has those kind of hiccups. But the positives for me outweigh the negatives. The Bucs gave them 21 points and lost by 11. So if you do the math, if they're on their A game, they have a chance of winning that. So I'm not too worried after this week, even though it did hurt.
Yeah, it's like a good soup. It takes a little bit for the ingredients to come together before it's fully done. But there were some high points, so
it's got to soak.
Got to soak a little bit.
Got to marinate.
Mayo, I come to you for your second thing you learned this week.
Jeffrey Simmons is a grown man.
Grown ass.
That dude was a problem for the Broncos offensive line last night. He completely dominated the game. Denver struggled to punch the ball in. I remember they ran some type of screenplay, and he basically picked up the back and threw him on the ground like it was nothing. Him and Jadeveon Clowney is going to make things difficult for the rest of the AFC South and the AFC to run the ball against Tennessee, especially with Harold Landry up there up front. Man, I guess I'm kind of evolving into a whole, like, the Titans defensive front is going to wreck offensive lines this year. And just to add one last thing, I said it last night on my Twitter. Jadeveon Clowney's never going to do a training camp again. That dude is just going to sit it all out. He's going to sign a 1-year deal for right below market value for a playoff team and try to win a ring every year.
Well, it took him 3 plays to get involved, like a whole 3 plays before he was in the stat sheet. So, no, it's good time signing right there. Roy, what's the second thing you learned, brother?
Okay, I'm going to go back to Jack's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm going to make a statement about this offensive line, who otherwise than their left tackle had a decent game. But on the J.P. Peterson show, he asked me about this. He said, "What about Donovan Smith?" I said, "He is hot garbage. This guy cannot pass block. He is going to get Tom Brady, have his arm ripped off, and beat him over the head with it. He will not be able to stay healthy if this guy continually bees his left tackle throughout the duration of this season. He just simply cannot. He doesn't have the foot quickness to match up with pass rushers. I mean, Tristan Wirfs, who I was not high on throughout the draft process, he held his own. He only really had one bad exchange there with Cam Jordan, who manhandled him and got a sack or a pressure. I don't remember if he got home on that one. But Donovan Smith needs replaced. And the Leonard Fournette signing, now to me, it's like maybe you should have took a little bit of them funds and stowed it away and tried to make a late transaction for a tackle here late. And maybe we'll see them go out and maybe try to acquire a tackle at the trade deadline this year. Maybe if Atlanta falls out of it, you could go get a Jake Matthews from them to plug in at left tackle. But it's going to get disgusting in Tampa Bay if Donovan Smith is their left tackle for all season.
As Jack was saying this morning, they should have not gone Gronk and should have gone after Trent. It would have made a huge difference. So,
watching that real quick, watching that Trent Williams block on the linebacker was just like demoralizing. I was like, we could have had that. Yeah. And instead, I look over watching Donovan Smith, and I'm like, but we got this.
This is what we deal with.
Donovan Smith could be a great offensive guard. He can be a great interior O lineman. Kick his ass inside, force him to take another discount because they're way overpaying him, and then go get a left tackle. Or move worse over to the left side. Because anything's better than Donovan Smith.
Hey, they have Joe Haig, who started a bunch of games for Cody's Colts before, a couple years ago. So.
Pretty solid. He's a solid villain right tackle.
There you go.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that
we get it. The Bucs need something on the left side because it was rough.
Again, it's week 1. I give it some time because he has flashed. He's had good games, and then he has games that look like that. He literally, I think that he could be the key factor as to why we lost.
It certainly looks that way. I'll be quick with mine here. Kyler Murray for MVP isn't a hot take. It's a take. It's got a legit shot. My boy looked good. The relationship with D-Hop is already there. D-Hop had the most targets and catches in his career after we all thought he was going to go down in targets leaving Houston. No. That is a match made in heaven, and Kyler will win MVP, and every week that take is going to get less and less hot, starting with this week. So, Jack, I'll come to you for the third thing that you learned this week.
Something we talked about earlier. Josh McDaniels is in love with his new toy, Cam Newton. Think about this. Think of how mundane, I wouldn't say mundane, but how kind of boring it must have got to be calling plays for Tom Brady year after year after year after year. And then you get this shiny new weapon where you can call any play, any run play. You went from the most unathletic quarterback possibly of all time, one of top 5, top 10 for sure, to arguably the most physically gifted quarterback of all time. I mean, it's got to be fun for McDaniels, and it showed with the play calling and their ability to scheme guys open just off the RPO.
Yeah, no, he definitely feels like a kid on Christmas getting that shiny new toy. He's got to. So, Mayo, I'm going to come to you, and I'm sorry, Jack, that was only your second one, not your third one. I said that wrong. But Mayo, this is your third thing, right?
Yeah, this is my third one, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. Matt Patricia is on the hot seat after blowing another fourth quarter lead against Chicago. And it's not a pretty thing for you to have on your resume as a defensive-minded coach when Mitchell Trubisky's lifetime passer rating against the Lions is 124.39. He's 88 for 127, 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns, and an interception.
Give him his papers.
They did draft Patrick Mahomes.
Getting smoked, dude. If they play Detroit 16 times a year, man. Oh.
Yeah.
What a joke. Oh, what a joke. No,
he's on the hot seat.
I backed off.
Gotta be.
After DeAndre Swift dropped that touchdown, I was like, oh, God, it's over for Matt Patricia. I better get off this train now.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift is running laps all season, guys. Yeah, that was egregious. That was a horrible drop, by the way.
The only upside of that, guys, is we're not going to see 45 minutes of stretching next year at the Senior Bowl.
Yes.
Oh, man. Roy, what's the last thing you learned, man? I like this one.
Okay, for me, and I kind of got it a little bit last week whenever my hot take was the Jacksonville Jaguars are not going to be having the number 1 overall pick. My boy Gardner Minshew came out and was surgical. I think it was 1 incompletion, 3 touchdowns.
Great game.
Forget about T-Law. We got Gardner Minshew down in Jacksonville.
Bro, I hate to say it, but he's fun to watch too, man. Looked good this week. Looked surgical. I don't know how he's doing it because they just keep giving away all the talent in Jacksonville, but whatever.
It's the power of the mustache.
It's because he went against the Colts on week 1 who have lost 7 freaking season openers in a row.
7. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And 6 in a row at Jacksonville. So it's, I guess, a little pet peeve of mine right now.
I get it. No, I get it. For sure. I'll be real quick with mine. The third thing I learned is that when Roy told us, what was it, a couple weeks ago, that Baker was going to get benched early and we would see some oh my goodness, Case Keenum coming in, and we kind of laughed at him. We might not should have done that, guys. Like, Baker was garbage, man. Baker had more commercials than he did at completions during the day. So it's pretty rough out there for Bake Show. And I apologize to Roy for us just blatantly laughing in his face when he said it. It sounded
that's
crazy
2 weeks
at the time,
in a row.
but not now.
2 weeks in a row. You guys laughed at me for Baker Mayfield and then Jacksonville.
I'll admit when I'm
It's a long season. It's a long season, but it is overreaction happy hour.
It is. So, Jack, let's finish this up with you, my man. I am 100% agreeing with what you're getting ready to say.
Yeah, if you listen to the Blitz breakdown, this is just kind of like a repeater course for us. Stick to that Trevor Lawrence competition, I guess. It's there's no tanking involved. The Jets just suck. Sam Darnold sucks. Sam Darnold throws the ball just as good as Jameis Winston to the other team. It is terrible. To the other team. Sam Darnold is ultra talented. Sam Darnold can make every throw. He just happens to make a lot to the other team. He happens to make a lot of mistakes. He almost butt fumbled this weekend.
That would have been legendary.
God, I wish it would have happened.
Oh, you know what I wouldn't give to have Charles Barkley call a Jets game just to take a shot every time he says, that's terrible. Like, I would, the Jets are horrendous.
I know the time's up, but really, like, the Jets are so bad that when they do decide to move on from Sam Darnold after this year, and they do sign Trevor Lawrence because they have no reason not to, like they kind of will be forced into it, they're going to ruin him because they've never given Sam Darnold even a chance. Like, Sam Darnold's career isn't over. It's just over. It should be over as a Jet. And then maybe somebody like a QB guru will pull him in and revitalize his career or something. But it is just downright bad. Like, he's on the same path as Josh Rosen right now.
Is he 20 or 21?
Darnold?
Yeah.
I think he was 20. I think he was 21 when they drafted him. I think he's like 22 or 23
You mean
now.
free agent? I was gonna say, I think he's a free agent after 21, ain't he? Unless they exercise the option.
He's 23 right now.
Yeah,
he's
23. He's still young. I mean, the
We-
guy's still got football.
The options after this. The options after this season they have to pick up, I
The
think.
It's the
option
same.
is Trevor Lawrence, my man.
Yeah, the option will not be picked up, and they will be drafting Trevor Lawrence.
Trading him
Pick,
to
or
San
a sign and
Francisco.
trade.
They
But
still
then again-
they still will somehow screw that up, and they'll take Penei Sewell instead of a quarterback.
Wow. Oh,
They're going to
man.
keep drafting defensive. They're just going to keep
Yeah.
finding ways to draft defensive linemen and then trade them a year or two later because they don't want to play for the Jets.
Yeah.
No doubt the JETS sucks. So we're going to be right back.
All right,
We're going to
Goofy.
hit you with this commercial, give my guys a quick break to wet the whistle, stretch a little bit, and we will be right back with the third quarter.
For over 100 years, the story has been written, ever changing and growing with each new chapter. The soul remains, though the characters change. Bigger, faster, stronger, smarter.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
So too grows our fandom. In a game of inches, start miles ahead.
Ready or not,
The 2020 Prospect Encyclopedia. Coming this September. Available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Blitzalytics.com.
And welcome back into Football Happy Hour. You heard it. Available at blitzalytics.com/shop. You can get it on Amazon.com. I found out you can get it at Target.com, which is new. We didn't even know that was possible. But there they are, my boys flashing it. Everybody's got their copy. Why don't you have yours yet? Why don't you have yours is the question. So the easy transition as my boys flip through those pages is we are going to get into quarter three here, where we are going to talk about the Prospect Encyclopedia and their offensive and defensive players of the week. Guys who you probably didn't know a lot about flash this week. They're all in the book, guys. I am amazed with how accurate you guys were with your calls. It really sick. I was flipping through on Sunday and just like, look at here. Oh my God, they got another one and another one and another. We're DJ Khaled of the book world and another one. It was awesome. So let's jump into the third quarter here. And Roy, I will be starting with you. And what we're going to do is just kind of go around the horn and give your offensive and defensive players that were in the book that hit for you this week, man.
Okay, so you want both of them, Rob?
Yeah, go ahead and fire them both off.
All right.
Then we'll probably have time for superlatives at the end and guys who didn't just make the list, but we're close.
Alrighty, so first one up for me is one of my Pittsburgh Steelers that I wrote. Number 2 prospect on the Steelers list, Benny Snell. After James Conner went down with another injury, this guy was the bell cow back, and you've seen with the 12-pound drop in weight, you've seen the looks like the next coming of our workhorse back. So he was outstanding. One of the reasons why we were able to move the ball, even with a subpar offensive line performance. Benny Snell was breaking tackles and getting yardage after first contact. So he looked really svelte, really explosive after being more of a plodding power back in first year. So that's my offensive player of the week.
What I want to do, I'll interject here in a little in between these as we go. I want to give you the props again. Roy told you, Ben, to look out for Benny Snell because he tracked the same way Le'Veon and James did, and I'll be damned if he didn't track that way into the game. And before you get off and don't talk about the stat line is impressive. 19 rushes, a Bill 13, 5.9 yards per carry, absolutely insane. And you have a note here, he's the only running back with 2 runs of 20 plus yards in week 1. So the guy didn't look good. The guy looked great and may have already taken the job from James Conner, who we know is in a contract area where they're not going to pay him as long as Benny Snell's hitting like this. So good call on Benny Snell, Roy.
Hey, and the mouth guard game is elite. I'm just going to end with that.
Point.
Mouth guard, elite. So my defensive player of the week is a guy that I really loved coming out. He actually was miscast at, I believe it was Louisiana Tech as a safety after he played corner. L'Jarius Sneed for Kansas City. This guy's a playmaker. He's physical as an outside cornerback. He was the number 4 prospect on the Kansas City list. Really high upside, great ball skills. I'm really excited to see what his upside is going to be on this defense, because if they get a playmaker in the secondary on the outside, take a little pressure off of Thornhill and Matthew on the inside, it's going to be dynamic in KC for the defense.
And boy, that defense looked good. I know it's week 1 and they weren't like great. They weren't like Steelers great, but they looked damn good, and he was a big part of that. 3 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and a pick on the game. L'Jarius Sneed, another quality call from the book. We're going to move on here to go to Jackson. Jack did the right thing in his fantasy leagues at the number 2 pick. He took Saquon Barkley, but I remember for days he was like, I got to do it. I got to pull the trigger on the guy he's getting ready to tell you about, and just couldn't do it. And boy, didn't karma bite you in the butt this week, Jack.
Karma, listening to you bit me in the butt, mister. I went to my fantasy football expert, and I was like, dude, I have to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And you're like, no, don't take him. Just turn around and trade Saquon Barkley to the guy who drafts him. And I'm like,
you didn't do my part. You could.
Not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
There we go.
It just so happens that I played the guy who drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he doubled me.
He's not trading him now.
He's untouchable now. Yeah,
he's not even trading him for Saquon. Like, that's just not going to happen. I tried. I was like, Saquon stayed across? No, it's not happening. One's in a high-powered offense. Obviously, I'm talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who went for 25 for 138, 5.52 yards per carry, and a touchdown, but was clearly the most dominant running back, the most electrifying running back of week 1. And we all called this. I will say that Roy is somebody who was on the bandwagon first. Sometimes Roy gets to the film before the rest of us, so he can say that. But when we all watch the film, it's undamn deniable how good Clyde Edwards-Helaire is. And he is the perfect fit for that offense. Do you guys remember when we were at the Stick to Football event at Two Deep Brewery in Indianapolis? I got on the mic and I asked Matt, Mello, and Connor, who is the one player that you could turns that team into a Super Bowl favorite? And that's exactly what I was thinking, was like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire to KC, and it happened. And that is exactly what happened. Was KC is above and beyond everybody else is the Super Bowl favorite again. I would take KC over the field simply because of what I've seen from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Give me KC over all 31 other teams. I'd bet the house, and I know I'd be right.
And they did it without sweating. Like they didn't even try. Like they had that game so wrapped up that it didn't matter that CEH was having goal line issues. They just, we're going to win. Just keep feeding the rock. Get him used to this. That offense is ridiculous scary with him on it now.
The thing you got to look at Kansas City, guys, what makes them even more scary, they have all their young pieces signed. They now have Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 5 years of under control as a running back. And you have a second-round pick. It's probably going to be a starting tackle for them a couple years from now. It opted out. And a L'Jarius Sneed like this, come on, son. Check mark, check mark, check mark. Brett Veach, get yourself a guy like that.
The rich guy, yeah.
Keep richer.
Yeah. Who's your defensive guy here, Jack?
Sorry, I froze right there. Who's my defensive player?
Yes, sir. Sorry
defense player. Sorry, I froze up for a second. Jonathan Abram, somebody who I've been stoked to talk about. I don't know if you guys watched this game or how closely you paid attention to the Raiders game. All right, I know combined, Christian McCaffrey still had over 100 yards from scrimmage, but he kind of got held in check, and a lot of that had to do with Jonathan not believe he had 9 solo tackles, 13 overall, tackle for loss, but his authority in the run game from a defensive standpoint was outstanding. He is a thumper. He is a difference maker on that defense. And even though they did give up quite a bit of points and it got really close, and I don't know why they didn't give Christian McCaffrey the ball on 4th and 1, it was very, very impressive to see what the Raiders did. The Raiders can stop the run. I mean, for Christian McCaffrey to go off and do what he did, he still got in the end zone twice, but it wasn't some massive, outstanding performance from Christian McCaffrey, and that's what we expected. I think majority of us had picked the Panthers to win that game simply because we weren't sure what the Raiders were going to be able to do to Christian McCaffrey. That got answered.
I'm going to pat myself on the back. I went Las Vegas, Raiders fans. But no, he did. He looked really good. I was excited. I brought it up last week, that picture where he in practice had hit somebody and bent his face mask all to hell. You got to love those kind of guys. I love it. I love that he's healthy. We're getting to finally see some run out of him. Jonathan Abrams is going to be an absolute beast, so I'm not mad at that at all. Cody, we're going to pivot to you here and come to you for your guys you want to talk about.
Yeah, so for my offensive player of the week from the book, Joshua Kelly for the Chargers. He was toting that rock on Sunday, just like we saw him do it in college, just like Jack, and Roy saw him do in Mobile, Alabama. I think all 3 of us were kept on nudging each other in the bleachers throughout the day with some of the runs he would do. 12 rushes for 60 yards, 5 yards per carry, and had a touchdown. And his play, even Anthony Lynn said it himself, they won the game because of him. So he's got a role in this offense. He won the job from Justin Jackson with a short amount of time. And I mean, Austin Eckler, they paid him. He's going to be the lead guy in touches. But, if you're a fantasy player, Eckler goes down, Kelly's going to get fed the ball. So especially with him being more of a first and second down back, he was number 4 on Pat Pryor's list for the Chargers. And then my defense player, I got to give, what's that?
I said, attaboy, Pat.
Yeah.
Having him at number 4 is impressive. We've seen it, but dude's a thumper.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, and I was watching him because luckily that we only had those 3 games in the last part, so I was able to watch the majority of that game live. I'll go ahead and do my defensive player. I watched every snap because he went against my Colts, and I got to give credit to the guy. He was a top 5 cornerback for me in this class. I think he was number 3 actually for me. But CJ Henderson, the cornerback for the Jaguars, they found their replacement for Jalen Ramsey. If he plays like he did Sunday, he held his own against Ty. You got to see his athleticism match other athletic speedster wide receivers like Ty. So that's actually a great thing to have, especially with his size, with his long speed and everything. But yeah, he had an interception, 3 pass deflections, and one of the things people question, even myself, is his physicality as a player. And on 2 of those tackles, he came up and hit the dude. He laid a thud. So he had an impressive first showing as a rookie.
I'm sorry, I was muted. My stupid microphone, my button works when it wants to. But no, I'm with you. Both good names. Both had standout games. Joshua Kelly, I think, is a guy, like you mentioned in fantasy. I think he's definitely worth spending a little fab budget on because, like you said, if Austin Eckler goes down, he feels like he's just going to get the rock like a whole bunch. So love that call. There are a couple of guys I want to point out here, and we'll run around the horn, and I'll get your guys' take, but I'm not gonna lie, these guys are scouts. They know the game in and out. I'm just a uber fan, if you will. But I want to point out number 6 for the Colts. Again, we'll talk about him again. Give Cody his props. Nyheim Hines had himself a day. It doesn't matter that JT's there. It didn't matter that Marlon Mack was there until he got hurt. Nyheim Hines has a role. It is going to be a lot like the Austin Eckler role in the past from the Chargers. And Cody, like I said, has been telling you that all off season. Got him a solid rating here, present grade 55, future grade 60. So the guy knows that he's got that talent, and he told you all off season that you were going to see it, and a lot of people were sleeping on him. So that's one that I would like to do there. And then I've got to bring up the page here for him. But another guy I'd like to talk about really quickly would be Laviska Shenault, guys, who I snuck in our 16-teamer and took in the last round of the draft, hoping that we would get dual running back and wide receiver eligibility. Then he did have some rushes, did catch the ball a little bit. Overall, looked super good to me. And I think as the season goes on, that's a guy that you're going to see more of. Let me try and see where they've got number 4 for the Jaguars. Who wrote the Jaguars?
David
was the Jaguars. So we had Laviska Shenault, number 4 on that Jaguars top 22. Again, I think he looked good. And one more name, we didn't get to see a lot of opportunity, but Van Jefferson looked good on some of those balls. I think as the year progresses and he gets more targets, you're going to see him start to flourish, but I loved what I saw in the small amount of targets. So Van Jefferson, Laviska Shenault, and Nyheim Hines are mine. What do you guys think of those 3 names?
Like all 3 of them. Obviously Hines, I wrote about him, but a little bit. I saw Shenault was used in a variety of ways. He looks healthy. I'm interested to see how he develops throughout the year. I don't know if you guys want to speak on any of the guys.
Shenault is a guy, when I scouted him from Colorado, you could see they used him in a very similar way. They played him at Wildcat. They played him at running back. They played him outside receiver slot. He is physical, and he will run after the catch, and he will break some tackles. So I would not be surprised if you see him get some more run as a running back in certain situations, maybe even a split backfield with the Robinson guy or Chris Thompson that's down there, just to throw in some creativity. So that's one definitely. Nyheim Hines, great all-around talent, especially now with the injury to Marlon Mack. That's going to be a 1-2 punch with Jay Taylor down there, and it's going to be interesting to see the different flavors coming through.
Nyheim Hines is a flex option in your league every week for me. Like, the guy is going to get his. I think by the end of the year, the points will say he's an RB2. But again, I feel comfortable if I own Tay and Hines, shit, I'm going to roll them both out. Like, they're not going to take away from each other. That's what's great about the Nyheim Hines situation in Indy. Love it.
You know what I love though, Rob? Since we're talking fantasy, guys that flashed this week. If you go to if anybody has our book, just pull up the top 90 overall consensus list. I really like number 35 and number 36. Noah Fant, Darius Slayton.
You brat. I literally have them highlighted on the sheet.
Oh, you can go ahead and talk. I just had to bring them up because those 2 guys helped me beat Rob in our 16-team Blitz League.
Oh, man. Sweated out that matchup. But no, Slayton was an absolute monster this week. Slayton was a monster. I'm looking up and down. I'm looking up and down this top 90, and barring injuries, look, there was some impressive performances out of this top 90, guys.
Hey, Roy.
What's that? Oh, yeah. I'm 1-2 this week in my leagues.
I don't know if you saw it, Rob. If you go to, I don't know if you follow Brian Baldinger and Baldy's breakdowns, but your boy Mekhi Becton had an impressive first performance.
Thank you. I almost forgot about that. The only bright spot for the Jets was Mekhi Becton's big ass. And he looked like a man amongst the boys. That dude is so freaking big.
He don't need footwork. Who cares? He just picks him up and slams them.
Mauler, bro.
He smash.
Yeah,
somebody,
I know. You might have to change that pick on quarter 3 because he really is Hulk smash.
Really quickly, as I see the time going down, showing the O-line some love. I think a lot of us liked him coming into that draft class. Isaiah Wynn looked good for the Patriots now that he's finally healthy.
Yeah.
Correct.
So did Jonah Williams.
Yeah, Jonah was another one. Right. Shout out to Joe Burrow. Look good too, guys. They got a quarterback up in Cincinnati, fellas. So let's do this. Let's get into quarter number 4 here really quick. And this is going to be another fun topic. You see the picture on the wall there. I've kept it there for a couple weeks. We unfortunately lost Chadwick Boseman just a couple weeks ago, known for starring in his role as Black Panther. Also was Jackie Robinson in 42. It is a great movie if you haven't seen it. Great actor. But we got us thinking about athletes and superheroes, right? And if you were going to cast an NFL player in the lead role of a superhero movie, what player would it be and what character would they be playing? And Jack, I'm going to start with you here as we get into the fourth quarter. We'll go ahead and start that clock. And whenever you're ready, hit us with one of your names.
All right, one just popped up, and now I have to say it because now it's stuck in my head, and I don't want to forget it. Travis Kelce as Gambit.
He does have the beard and the coiffed hair. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
it's the perfect look.
It's definitely a look.
But I got Christian McCaffrey as Spider-Man because he can do everything, and he's elusive. It's hard to catch. He can fly. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I think he's kind of the perfect Spider-Man. He's also not the biggest guy. J.J. Watt is Thor. And then Tyreek Hill as Speed Racer. I mean, it's kind of an easy one. I was trying to think of who's the kid in The Incredibles that's just as fast?
Dash.
Yeah,
no,
I can't want to say Jack, but I know that's not.
Dude,
that's not
Jack is the best superhero character
is
ever.
The best.
But man, dude,
he's got them all.
Lit. Yeah, for sure. No, Tyreek Hill is Speed Racer. I'd probably go Tyreek Hill as Flash, but I mean, I get it. That's kind of already taken by D Wade when he was in his prime, so it's rough. But no, Tyreek Hill, Speed Racer's cool. J.J. Watt looks like Thor with short hair, like after Thor got the makeover. Right before he became Fat Thor, which, by the way, Fat Thor is the best Thor. If you guys haven't watched those movies, as a fat guy, I always like it when a hottie gets fat. So I like all three of your picks, man. I can't really argue any of those. So look, what do you want me to say, bro? When fat dudes win, it's nice. I root on Luther Vandross when he was big. I'm rooting on all fat dudes. Ruben Studdard was my dude on American Idol for sure.
That's exactly why I root for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, little
fat guy.
Yeah. Dude, could you imagine if Kyler Murray was fat? He would look like a bowling ball, dude, just rolling down the field.
He looked like Ben Stiller at the end of Dodgeball.
Absolutely. Mayo, let's come to you, man. Superheroes, players, what do you got? I know you're a big Batman guy. We both are, so.
Yes. And this is not a player, and his physicality wouldn't really match up with Batman as far as what he looks like. But if you want to talk about somebody that's always prepared, has a plan for everything, he knows your every move and what you're going to do, it's Bill Belichick as Batman.
That kind of makes me want to throw, like, you should have said Emperor Palpatine.
Master Yoda.
X.
And let's be honest.
Yoda.
The Batman of the NFL is Patrick Mahomes, because Batman's only superpower is money, and Patty got that in boatloads right now. So Patrick Mahomes is Batman to me. I get the thinking though, but Bill Belichick is definitely a super villain, if anything. Maybe a Lex Luthor. The devil himself comes to mind.
Aaron Donald as Juggernaut after we saw what he did to the Cowboys.
Perfect.
Game
over. Game over. That just wins it all right there. This has been Football Happy Hour presented by any chance we get to talk about my boy Aaron Donald, and I'm gonna slap. Who was it that released that crap about Aaron Donald being bad against the run? What? ESPN goes straight to hell. You guys have no clue what football is. Get out of here. Get talking mess about Aaron Donald. Come on.
And
that
then
dude shakes double teams like it's single teamers.
He abused the Dallas offensive linemen. He took out two of them just to take out frustration.
One
swing. Did you see what he did to Zeke?
Yeah. That's a grown man.
Zeke got flight time on that. And that was just a one-arm shove.
Aaron Donald is just flat out that dude. And Juggernaut is a perfect analogy for him. So you got any more for us, Cody?
I'll come back to me later.
Yeah, no problem. We're going to go around the horn a couple times because some will hit you on the way when we're talking anyway. So, Countryman, go ahead.
All right, so I got quite a list here. I've been thinking about them. So, first is none other than Alejandro Villanueva as Captain American. Literally because he was Captain America already. He was already a war hero. So, Captain America, that one's kind of a layup. This one, it really just reminds me of his tenacity, the way he plays. TJ Watt is Wolverine. The way he's always just like shredding people, I could see TJ Watt coming through on that one.
And the jump before the games, right? The whole Yeah,
Yep.
he's got that superhero landing thing down. So
next one is James Harrison as the Hulk, because this guy would literally pick up offensive tackles and smash them on their backs whenever he was in prime condition. So, and this dude can still lift a small Volkswagen on the weekends. This dude is ripped. So that's one.
What about
Big
the
Ben.
weekdays?
Yeah, Big
Look,
Ben.
dude, I'm fairly sure that James Harrison could bench press my fat ass with like bags of groceries on my arms and like holding my wife. That guy is just insane. He's a workout
yoked.
warrior. Yeah, yoked.
He is
for
yoked.
Sure.
He is yoked. Big Ben as Iron Man. And this is because he gets so much money. He has so many toys.
No.
And he complains. So
He is
Big
kind
Ben,
of a whiny bitch. So if that's what it takes to be Iron Man, then that's what it takes.
So throughout his career,
Big
he's
Ben
always
ain't
kinda-
saving the world, much less this season.
Oh, whoa!
Oh,
Those are
man.
Dang.
Last ones.
Shots
Last one.
fired, dude.
Mekhi Becton as Big Hero 6.
Yeah, I mean he's huge, so
Ba la la la,
La,
bam!
la, la, la. Big Hero 6, man. My kids love that. It's okay. It's all right. I guess it counts as a superhero movie. So, anybody think of any crazy ones while we were going through those?
Zach
Trying to
Banner
think.
as Maui.
Maui, yeah, that's a good man. Speaking of
Zach Banner.
oh man,
Oh.
what an injury, man. I hope get better, well, kid, soon, because that looked rough. But he did show. Like I loved his message he dropped on Twitter today. He showed he could play ball, and now he's just gonna get healthy and play ball. So, again, crappy injury, but shouts out to him. No, I get the Maui comparison is legit though with that tattoo, bro. It's for real. The struggle is real. What about you, Jack? You sound like you got one there on the tip of your tongue.
I'm trying to think of so who. All right, let's just start throwing out superhero
Superheroes?
names
Yeah,
and
and then-
seeing who we could stick them to.
Sure.
Who's Hawkeye?
Oh man,
It's
Hawkeye.
got,
I like
who's the
this
most
a lot
accurate?
better.
Who's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL right now?
If you
Oh,
say
no,
Derek
who's the
Carr, I'm gonna
I
cut
didn't
your
say
I
it.
ears
was
off.
not going there. I was
Okay.
not going there.
Okay.
But I will. But now that you mentioned it,
Gardner
how
Minshew.
was that deep ball by Derek Carr? How
Well,
was that?
hey.
He's pretty
Hey,
accurate.
every
He played pretty well.
every once in a while, a squirrel finds a nut, man. So that's
Yeah. Derek
see
Carr's
the
a really
future.
good quarterback. One of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
Sometimes
Yeah,
that
so
squirrel
is-
finds two.
hey,
and then
so
the
is
other
Hawkeye.
squirrel punches him.
yeah, and so is Hawkeye. Hawkeye is a really good hero too, but he's pretty boring. So
Boring
That's
and
Derek
all I
accurate.
gotta
That might be Derek Carr. Boring and
That's
accurate.
Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, I guess it is Derek
It's
Carr.
Derek Carr. It's Hawkeye. Boring and fairly accurate. And
Yeah, no
Very
superpowers.
I got-
Superpowers whatsoever. Kind of mundane.
yeah, I'll give it.
Hey,
to you.
I got
on
a
target.
I got a
chip
wild
on
one
his
here.
shoulder.
wild one here, Rob. Metalbeard from Lego Movie is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Metalbeard. Yeah, I love it because that's Ron Swanson, bro. Anything that man does is legendary. So yeah, Metalbeard.
Me and Jack, as guys with no kids, are like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Lego Movie's legit. I don't know what you guys.
It is.
You guys are missing.
Everything
out.
is awesome.
Everything is awesome. It's the greatest, dude. It's a legit movie.
And-
Let's watch it.
And we lost everybody.
Hey,
All right,
whoa.
who's Deadpool?
Oh man, who keeps getting
Aaron
injured
Rodgers.
and coming back? Like it's
It's true. Who
Right.
cannot die?
uh
Is it Adrian Peterson?
Yes. For some
Sean
reason
P.
he's still a thing. So
Sean Lee.
well, no,
Probably, yeah.
Deadpool would still occasionally play and not just collect a check. Like Sean Lee is ugh.
All right, we've listed nothing but, well, mostly, I think, other than like Juggernaut, we've listed nothing but superheroes. What about villains? Like, who's Thanos then? That's what it is? Patrick Mahomes is
Taysom
Thanos.
Hill.
No, Thanos is definitely Roger Goodell.
Uh,
That Thanos is Roger Goodell. Snap of his finger and he takes
Robert
away
Kraft.
football.
Robert Kraft.
Which super villain was it that caught a dirty massage? I don't remember. It's hard to pinpoint that one.
Oh,
Family
gosh.
show. How dare you?
Look, I didn't go into it. Robert Kraft's the one that got the happy ending. So, is Cam still Superman?
Yeah, Cam Newton has to be
Yes.
Superman. He owns that. He licensed that one.
Hey,
But like, then who? Then that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Guy.
Who is Patrick Mahomes then? If Patrick Mahomes can't be Thanos, which I think Patrick Mahomes should be Thanos, is he Captain Marvel? Because it's the most strongest one.
That's rough. Patrick Mahomes is his own thing.
He's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, like that's a rough one, man. Like,
if anything, he is Iron Man because he's got the money. He can attack you with a bunch of weapons.
I like that better. Way better than Big Ben.
He's the Iron Man. He's a true Iron Man. He's the one that can go ahead.
I don't know. I get Hulk vibes from him.
Who's that fat guy on X-Men that like nobody could purt like because they kept punching him and it's like whoop whoop and it's like suck up the hands. That's who Big Ben is.
Big Ben is that Alaskan dude on the Cornelius or whatever his name is on the Christmas show that we get to
Cornelius?
See. Yeah, that's Big Ben.
Silver and gold.
This show is falling off the rails, guys.
Oh,
yeah.
I get Hulk
Juju
vibes
could
though
be
from
Ant-Man.
Patrick Mahomes because you wouldn't want to see Patty when he's angry. I'm just serious. Like that's the dude. You piss off Patty, the game is over. So
that is true. We did call that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like,
oh no, they
he's
pissed him off. Great, this is over now. So that's a pretty good one. The Joker. Who's the Joker?
Oh,
Just want to watch the world. Adam Gase.
I would say
the Joker. Like I just want to watch
in
the world
in a
burn.
plot twist. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, not mad at it. I can see that.
I don't know how much it means, but
Look, it's whatever. It's special. What about Lamar Jackson?
I'm looking through all. I don't even know.
Oh yeah, I am not up on superheroes. If they don't have a major film franchise, I probably don't know a lot about them. Let's be frank. I didn't buy the comics when I was a youth. Now I'm way too old for that shit. So
why don't we for the last 3 minutes Robinson gets traded, talk about teams really quick, throw out.
yeah, we got a little time here and it's not in the script, so if you guys want to, we can. I mean, obviously the one that jumps to me is the San Francisco 49ers need some receiver help. I don't think Sanu's got anything. Cody said it earlier this week. Bill knows when people are done. He was right on a lot of dudes. So
If you're gonna say that, then Bill should have known not to trade a second-round pick just a year ago for him.
Bill doesn't care about a second-round pick. Doesn't matter. It's worth a roll of the dice,
Yeah, I think
right?
49ers, if he would get traded. They
49ers.
need wide receivers.
I like that
Green
one
Bay.
earlier. I don't know which one of you guys said it. The
No, they
Baltimore
did.
Ravens.
Yeah,
They
Baltimore Ravens.
need a good possession wide receiver. They got nothing but
Green Bay.
speedsters.
Yeah, but they're not going to trade within division. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
that's true.
Yeah.
Wait.
I said Packers.
What?
That's why you said division. I said Packers.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why
I was like,
said
what? Huh?
I'll tell you what, for those of you who are tuning into this, if you guys haven't seen that the video the kid put together of the Allen Robinson Foundation to free him from wide receiver hell, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. It looked legit like one of those commercials from the late 90s where only 33 cents a day will help save Allen Robinson from the hell he is in. And you forget that this man has only really caught balls from Mitch Trubisky and Blake Bortles and has done what he's done in his career.
He equated,
Wow.
I think it was just under 24% of their overall offensive output, both scoring and yardage last year.
Ugh.
And that's with Mitchell Trubisky. He was top 5 in percentage of yards by any player in the NFL last year.
It's insane how crappy the quarterback play he has been around and still flourished. That's why, for fantasy purposes, I never take him because it's like, oh no, your quarterback is garbage. But if he was playing with a guy,
he go to Washington, him and Terry McLaurin would make a little 1-2 punch.
what's Houston got left in the cupboard? Bill O'Brien's ready to just give out draft picks.
They already have a
what
million.
if he would do that and then turn around and pay Allen Robinson the same exact amount
But
of
he
money
was
he
gonna
would
do
have paid
D-Hop.
DeAndre Hopkins?
Yep, that feels like a real Bill O'Brien move here. So that's a good
Billy
one.
He's already paying Randall Cobb to get 2 targets.
How about Philadelphia?
What about Philly and just a swap
Yep.
with Alshon? And well, I think you need more on the back
send
end.
him
Yeah,
back.
some more, but Alshon ain't going back to the Bears.
He
He
this
knows.
man's
He was
about to
just
be
there.
out of
He
the
knows
job
how
anyway.
bad it is.
Fuck him. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, they try to give him up. They tried to give him up for free. They're like, you can have our laundry machine and Alshon Jeffrey, and everybody's like, nah, we're good.
Dude, it would be awesome if Alshon got traded back to the Bears, and Jimmy Graham's just like, see, that's why you got to negotiate these no trade clauses, dog.
This would piss off Jack since they just print money in New Orleans. Just trade him down there with Michael Thomas going to be out for some time.
Ooh,
yeah,
that actually. Oh, that would be scary. I think Allen Robinson's got it. He's just never had good play. So
yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
I was gonna say he's damn sure a top 10 receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, the dude.
You just never talk about him because he's not so fantasy relevant because of the team he plays for.
Yeah, he's always had garbage quarterbacks, so it's what it is. So, before we jump into overtime, I'm going to give these guys one more quick break, and then we'll be back here to hit you with overtime and end out the show. And we will be right back, guys.
Sex, drugs, and murder. Welcome to the locker room of the 2008 Florida Gators.
Hey, let's go! Get in here! Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's our bad first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking downfield for a touchdown. I guarantee you that. Guarantee. Look at me. Look at me. Let's go. We got 30 minutes. Let's go. For the rest of our lives.
Welcome back to Football Happy Hour. We just spent the last few seconds patting ourselves on the back on how accurate this Prospect Encyclopedia is, baby. And if you don't have it, you really are missing out. So we're going to hit you again with overtime. Then we're going to let you go, I guess, to bed because there's nothing better than us. So once this show is over, you've got nothing left to do. Let's go ahead and hit this overtime period. I am. Let's talk about it. With The Rock being the prominent...
insult our customers.
Look, they get it. They get it. This is the high point of the day. It's Tuesday, for God's sake. With The Rock being a prominent member of ownership in the NFL, looking like he's going to be heavily involved in that league. If you could pick any one person to come in and take Roger Goodell's job, give him full reins of the NFL, who is it that you would pick, and if you have any specific reasons why as well? And we'll get a couple of names, and we may even throw out a random topic here if we speed through this. But I think I'm going to start here because I'm the host, and I'll do what I want. I'm going to throw out Peyton Manning's name.
Oh. You just stole both mine and Cody's.
Yeah, that's why.
Roy was the first one that suggested it. Roy was the first one that ever suggested that name.
And I go back to that.
I like it.
It was perfect. It's a guy who's that, because I tried to think, right, because I'm a player guy, right? So I wanted it to be a player because I want the players to actually have a voice high up in the league. But it's a fine line between trusting the player versus the office, and are the owners going to be okay with it, and yada, yada, yada. I think Peyton is one of the few guys who's a former player who the owners would be okay with, clearly knows the history of the game, clearly knows what it's like to be a player, clearly been around in the front office with Indy and Denver during his stays in both and learned how both of those operate, and pretty much doesn't have an enemy in the league. I'll take the low-hanging fruit. You guys are welcome that I made your jobs harder, and I'll go with Peyton Manning. And Jack, I'm going to come to you now because I just want to put you on the spot, bro, because I'm upset. No, this is what you get for shaving that glorious mustache. Is
on a week that Gardner
Alexander told me to. Okay, apparently it's not professional when you're meeting
what
people.
What does a Harvard grad know?
Right.
He's not a grad yet.
What does a Harvard college student know?
Yeah.
He's probably the smartest one. He's probably the smartest one out of all of us. He probably does know best. But over. What does he know about growing a mustache? All right, you don't know anything, Alexander.
If you triple my IQ, it's not even close.
If I told him I'd give him an NFL team tomorrow if he'd grow a mustache in a month, it still wouldn't get a team.
It wouldn't. All right, this is another one that I was thinking of. And for the simple reason of the handshakes at the podium for the NFL draft would be so awesome. And on top of that, he'd have the respect of everybody in the league, and no one would ever question anything he does as the owner, and we would get defense back. Defense would be back, baby. Ray Lewis. Think about Ray Lewis being the commissioner of the NFL and being the one in charge. We would have real hitting again. We'd have real football. It'd be back to the early 2000s, 90s. Like, we go back to, like, real football.
Back
but,
to
like,
70.
honestly, every time I think of that, I just think of, like, Ray Lewis dapping people up and then, like, getting the dance in and stuff as he's on the podium, like him doing his dance to the podium. Like, it would be perfect.
I'm not mad about Ray, but I do have some questions about how this is going to work. One, the speeches coming from the front office are now minimum 2 hours long at that point. and the most mundane messages will get so hyped. Like, he will inspire you with the most mundane messages. Today it is Tuesday and we have drug testing, and be happy that we can do it. And you are so, like, everything he says has to be a pep talk. So good and bad. 2-hour meetings every day, though. So,
but they would be the most intense meetings.
So intense.
The office memos would be legit from there on out.
Legit. And nobody's bringing a problem unless you have a legit problem. That's a real big problem. You're not coming to Ray's office to nitpick over tiny shit. It is not happening. Ray will tell you to get lost, and unlike Roger Goodell, when he says it, Ray means it. So
on top of that, there's 32 fan bases that don't have the balls to boo Ray Lewis.
Boo Ray Lewis, yeah.
Draft.
I dare you.
I think Pittsburgh did it a few times.
Yeah, well, there's something in the water making y'all cray out there. So
yeah, minus division rivalries.
Division rivalries. Don't
29 teams. Sorry.
Mayo, who's your selection? Oh, Mayo, did you hear me? Who's your selection, Mayo? We paused. I'm sorry.
You're good. Yeah, so obviously I would want to go with Peyton. I'm leaning towards somebody that is a former player, so I like both those selections. Somebody that the players can relate to, and somebody they could also, the commissioner himself could understand where the players are coming from. This was hard for me to think of, but I try to think of somebody that's been super successful in his post career, and something that literally just hit me as I've been trying to run through names because I knew somebody was going to take Peyton. I'll go with Darren Woodson. I think he's. I think
one of the
he's somebody
few Cowboys I don't utterly hate. Right? Like,
yeah, he's a great. He was an all-time safety in the league. He's a very smart. He had a successful career as an analyst for ESPN, and now he's running some, like, I want to say, like, big-time real estate company in Dallas right now that he's super successful with. I'm sure he's invested in other businesses, so he understands the business aspect as well. So I think he would be somebody that they could potentially be one day the commissioner. That would be a route he would want to go on.
Yeah, and again, it's hard to find a Cowboy that people just don't hate unless you're a Cowboy, and I don't hate him. There's not an ounce of hate in me for that man. I love him as an analyst. I liked him as a player. His businesses are thriving. I'm good with that one, man. That's a good deep dive. Not a big name either. I'm super happy you brought him up. Good job, Cody. Golf clap.
He is one of my favorite ESPN or like NFL Live analysts.
Yeah,
sure.
Because he doesn't pull any punches, right? Like, he says what's the truth, and whether you like it or not, or he likes it or not, he's just very honest. I love it. It's a good one.
Yeah, he comes on the Pat Mac show every once in a while too, so I always look forward to when he talks.
Yeah, man of the people. Definitely a man of the people, unlike Roger freaking Goodell. Roy, I'm going to come to you for your selection now, brother.
Yeah, this one was hard. I had 3 guys in mind, and I think I'm going to settle on one. It's Charles Davis. This guy was a former NFL player, college player. He knows the ins and outs of scouting. He knows all these players personally. He knows the business side of things. He's also, I believe, in real estate. Very smart, well-spoken man. He seems to be able to deal with issues and different situations. And he's very gracious to not only players, but whenever you interact with him in person, he makes you feel special, like he knows you for the last 10 years. So Charles Davis is definitely the guy I think would be my lead candidate. And then there was a couple other guys like Louis Riddick, who I thought would be a good pick because he was a former, also has the experience in the front office. And Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's a guy. He's in the media aspect now. He's a former player, really smart and savvy, businessman, especially on off the field issues, and he's a friend of Blitz, so I had to throw his name out there.
Well, my favorite was Charles, right? And there's one thing I really like about him he may be the only person I can say this about. Even when he's super excited, there's a calmness in his tone. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but even when he's calling a game and you can tell he's excited, he still has this calm confidence that it's just a learned trait that very few people in the world have. And again, as the commissioner, you're going to have your back against the wall. You're going to have to learn how to deal with people. And there's just something calming about him. If he told me my house was on fire, I would gather my things slowly and walk out the front door because he just calms me down. So, I mean, I'm good with that. We got a lot of good names. Obviously, Peyton wins because I'm the best at this game. But I think you guys actually, I think my favorite one was probably Cody's. Like, it came out of nowhere, right? Like, it feels like a name like, shit, I never would have thought about that, but that's perfect, right? So, what do you guys think about everyone else's guys? And then maybe we'll run around the horn and pick a crazy celebrity one just for funsies.
I think Charles Davis makes the most sense. I would say that. And I 100% understand what you're saying about the calming voice. Like, even when he does get excited, his voice doesn't, like, inflect a bunch.
Right.
And he still has
scream,
that, like, beautiful, deep man voice that, and he just kind of lets you know, like, what is going on during the play and what the quarterback was thinking, why the defense did this. Like, he already knows the in and outs of everything, and then he owns the respect of the entire league.
And I thought he was a little dude. He ain't no little dude.
No.
He is.
I didn't have a shirt. We didn't have a shirt big
enough for that dude. Yeah.
We'll hit you up in Mobile, Charles. We'll get you like a 4X if you need. No worries.
We got you.
Man,
straight up.
Bring his
That
ass a
was
hat.
like one of the most surprising things ever. When we met him in Mobile, I was like, wait a minute, that's Charles Davis in a good way. It's not like he's out of shape. He's just big. And one other thing too, he's personable. One thing that caught me, it was like when Roy saw him, he called Roy Big Country. I was like, dang, man, like he remembers Roy, and you meet a lot of, we all know when you go to these events, you meet a lot of people, and I'm sure when you're a Charles Davis, anybody like that, you're going to meet even more a lot of people that are trying to talk to you as much as possible. So for him to I'm not sure how much Roy interacted with in the past, but it seemed like he was like friends from the last time you guys talked. So I like that pick.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, and just a little story, like, wound up messaging him on LinkedIn just to see if a lot of it, we know it's a lot of cold calls and cold, conversations to some of these celebrities. He actually responded within, I think it was like 2 days. So, and it was very personal, and I was telling him, like, I was going to Mobile for the first time because he's always wanted to host there. And at halftime, whenever it was my first experience at Mobile, he actually sought me out. We bumped into each other up there and had probably about a 15-minute conversation. So he took the time. He remembered the conversation from, just an exchange basically on an email to talking, in person with me and get to know me a little bit. So big shout out to Charles Davis. That's why I said he'd be a perfect fit for that type of position. He's well qualified, well spoken. He's a great representative of the game of football.
You know what I think? The underlying fact, here, that resonates with me is every one of us picked former players. I think that's common thread, and I think if you ask most people who should be the commissioner of the NFL, I think the greater majority of people would be our type of answers, former players. Let me just run around the horn here. I had just considered that. So do you think there's a reason, or what is it about that having a player in there you think would matter so much, Jack? Because again, we all went former players. None of us picked a businessman. None of us picked politicians. None of us picked celebrity. We're all former players on our picks.
I think it has to do with just the respect of the league more than anything else. If you have somebody that you can trust, nobody likes Roger Goodell, not even the fans. Like, rookies like him, but it's most so like he's the guy standing up on the stage as your dreams just came true, so you're going to hug anybody, and it just happens to be Roger Goodell. Like, it could be some bum off the street, and they'd still hug him. So, for me, nobody likes Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell has had numerous backtracking statements. He said this, and then he said this about this player, or he's done this and done that. Like, a lot of people dislike Roger Goodell, and I think for all the right reasons, any player we've mentioned from Ray Lewis to Peyton Manning, every one of these guys has the respect of the league. I think that would be the biggest thing. Like, you want a commissioner that it's kind of fun to hate Roger Goodell. It's kind of fun to hate any commissioner and boo any commissioner. But realistically, you want somebody in there that has respect and commands respect, and that's a former player. That's a Hall of Famer or a legend in the game, somebody who's been in there for so long.
I think that should be a program, Jack. Hug a bum instead of Roger
Hug
Goodell.
a bum. Bro, you know how many players would be like, I'll take that bum. Let me hug that bum.
I'm taking that bum. Give me a chest bump, bum.
See Juju,
All right,
Juju handing out groceries?
That's right.
Cool.
That's a grown man
Juju's
there.
awesome.
Juju's a hell of a person.
Dude,
pretty good wide receiver, but
I know it'll never happen. But in my dreams, I have a team where Deshaun Watson is throwing the rock to Juju Smith-Schuster. I'd give anything to see it, but it's never.
It might happen. Oh.
Hey, I'd give it, man. Those are my two favorite players.
If Chase Claypool becomes what we think he's gonna become, then they won't need Juju.
Boy, Chase looked good. Chase looked real good. So let's go around the horn.
Hey, Johnson Johnson's looking pretty good.
Give me one crazy name, celebrity only, commissioner of the league. Give me a celebrity, real quick. Top of the dome, Jack.
You always got to go to me.
Let's
Top of the dome again. I always go
with somebody else if you want.
I always go Rock. Like, that's the easy one. I don't know.
The Rock is it's too easy. So.
It's too easy, but like that's the celebrity
he's
I would take.
He's already our fantasy football league commissioner, so we might as well, right? Like,
right?
He's a busy dude. He got none but time. What about you, Mayo? Any crazy celebrities? I know you had an exchange with our boy Bill Burr that we won't really get into as to why you decided to email him. But did you ask him if he wanted to be commissioner during that?
He would be no nonsense, but
no bullshit, right?
Man, I was just trying to go. I was trying to go with the funny one, but I forget. I think he was the one that wore it. But it was Rob Lowe, the one that wore just the NFL hat.
Yeah, it's just the league hat. Yeah, just an NFL league hat. Like, my fandom is fucking NFL. I don't like a team. I'm Rob Lowe. I like the NFL. That's a good one. That's a great one. What about you, Roy?
Yeah, so that just popped in my head. Go ahead.
This is a hard one.
I got nothing.
This is maybe Adam Sandler. Let's get crazy.
Yeah, Water Boy.
Drop kicking everybody.
He'll make a crappy Netflix movie about football and destroy the league. So
well, he will play foosball behind your back.
Mama said foosball is the devil.
It'll be prison league. It'll be like
devil,
longest yard.
The devil. I never want to go a week without addressing any questions that we do have in the chat, though we kind of already answered his. Jay's back with us. Super fan Jay, how you doing, buddy? We covered our favorites from the book, but just as a quick thing around the horn before we get out of here, we didn't pick our players of the week anyone, right? So be it in the book or not, who is a guy you want to give player of the week to, Jack? Just anybody.
Oh man, as much as it hurts me, I think Rodgers has to take it. Like, his game was near flawless. Between him and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, both of them had stellar games. They let Russ cook this week. Mayo, player of the week for you. If you say Darius Slayton or Noah Fant, I will fly to Florida and kick your ass, man. I'm not.
Here, I'll stick with a little year 3 action. How about Calvin Ridley in a loss? 9 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He went all this week.
He did indeed. In that third-year thing, it works, guys. We're gonna make T-shirts. You're gonna have to buy
them. Anthony Miller on that game-winning catch on the side too. How about that? Yeah,
that was nice. Countryman, player of the week for you.
I know we're trying to get away from the book, but did you guys see the appearance of Chase Young with the Washington football team?
Grown man status.
A grown man.
Grown man status.
8 sacks. Let's go.
Absolutely.
That was bad. But
the two guys.
before we go
ahead.
Nate Herbig. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Nate Herbig, I watched I tried to watch every one of his snaps. I think he only gave up one pressure. Only one pressure. Nate Herbig's my boy, dude. To see him finally on the field.
Not mad.
It's the first of many starts for him, Jack.
Couple names I'm going to throw out.
So.
Devontae Adams to piggyback off of Rogers up there. Devontae had a hell of a game, wide receiver 1 in fantasy. And then Josh Jacobs, 3 touchdowns, man. The Raiders got something, bro. Like he's
Joey Bosa had a good weekend too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
he dominated Bobby
players,
Hart.
man. Like, it did not feel like a week 1 with no preseason. Me and Jack talked about that this morning. There was a lot of good, clean games that I thought were going to be scrappy and messy. And boy, we may never have fucking preseason again. So.
I would say minus the Bucks game, it was nice to not see a whole lot of flags being thrown either.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it? Chiefs and they didn't have a flag in the first half or something like that, was it? Like they played an entirely clean first half. What a accomplishment that is with absolutely no preseason and limited availability beforehand. So kudos to everybody out there came ready to ball this week, and I'm looking forward to week 2. That's going to do it for us here on the show. Again, shout outs to Superfan Jay. Thanks for tuning in, and anybody else who tuned in, be it on Facebook or Twitter, and especially if you're on YouTube, please go down there. They're in that bottom corner there. Hit that subscribe button, that little bell icon button next to it. And I'm going to go around the horn and let these fellas say their goodbyes, but I'm going to give a special shout out again to our lead sponsor, Key City Brewing. What is it? Drink, Rebel, Repeat. I think I finally got the slogan down, so I can get it out. Jack, we're going to start with you. Tell them where they can follow you, plug what you need to plug, and then we'll get out of here.
Follow me at Jack Bourgeois, JackBooshwa. Go make sure you purchase the Prospect Encyclopedia at blitzalytics.com/shop. And I believe as of next week, it'll be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and like he said earlier, apparently Target. Apparently Target barred our shit. So go check it out. Go buy all the books, all of them.
Books. Christmas is coming, people. Read more.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
If you got a book,
don't forget,
buy a
it's waiver
second.
wire time, people.
It is waiver wire time. Yeah, be
waiver
ready for
wire
that.
wins your league. Don't
no
forget.
Doubt. You do not win or lose your league on draft night, my friends. Jack gets dropping knowledge. I'm going to give a shout out. We have a new listener in the chat. Kamisha Alexander was excited that we talked about Russell Wilson. You should be. Russell Wilson was cooking this week, and I think Seattle's going to let him do it all season long. Mayo, I'm going to come to you now to say your goodbyes. Plug what you need to plug, brother.
Well, I'm going to kind of parlay off that little end right there that Jack talked about, waiver wires. Yeah, so I'm going to be giving out my top 5 waiver wire guys tomorrow morning on the Fantasy Voyage. So make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you know when we go live with that show. You'll hear me on Cody Talks NFL on Friday. Both those shows, between that 10 to 11 hour. Just stay tuned for us.
Whenever
we'll be
the
live.
coffee sets in, really, right, Cody?
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm always like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then my weekly Bucks articles, top 5 things I want to see from the Bucks against their week's opponent. So it'll be this week against the Panthers. That'll come out on Saturday. Then, yeah, make sure you subscribe to our podcast network on all major podcast platforms. And as always, we'll always keep on plugging this bad boy. Go buy it, like Jack said.
Buy the book. Buy the book. And I saw Jack with a sly little smile. I don't know what's going on over there, but I saw that grin. I'm not going to ask. But something's going on over there, Jack. Countryman, I'm going to come to you to say your goodbyes. Hey, thanks for the subscriptions. Kamisha subscribed. So we got more people, dude. Join the Blitz bandwagon.
Hey, Kamisha.
Yeah, I figured that was up. Hey, Countryman, let's go to you to say your goodbyes, brother.
Well, guys, it was an awesome show. Also, everybody that's listening, make sure you check out my Steelers video podcast every week now. It's going to be Saturday mornings. It's going to be going live as long as everything works out. I had a little bit of technical difficulties. And I just announced before we went live here on the Steel City Sermons Twitter page that I'm going to be giving out a free PDF team version of the Steelers because the number 1 and number 2 players of mine, Chase Claypool and Benny Snell, bombed it in week 1. So we're going to be giving out a Steelers team PDF. All you got to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is where I go live. Make sure that you drop me a message of your top 3 favorite Steelers of all times. And make sure that you tag a friend. So make sure you buy that book. If you're interested in Steelers, check out my Steel City sermon. And if you want to check me out or ask me any questions on Twitter, at PreacherBoyRoy. And as always, guys, stay humble, be a blessing.
Be a blessing, yes, sir. I'm going to be out of here real quick. You can follow me on Twitter at RobRobGraphics. And I'm going to be back with my boy on the fantasy voyage. I'll tell you what, if you guys didn't tune in this week, you missed out. Cody and I were dropping fire on you, and we were right on just about everything. So if you want to win your league, tune in and get that news from me and Cody on the fantasy voyage, because we're out here winning leagues for people, folks. So I want to thank Jack, Cody, Roy for spending another Tuesday night with me. I know I'm a pain in the ass, so thanks a lot, guys. I want to thank everyone out there who listened for tuning in. Again, ask that you subscribe and like across all of the platforms, whatever you're choosing to listen to. Thank you so much. This has been the Football Happy Hour presented by Blitzalytics.com, and we look forward to talking to you again next Tuesday at 8 Central. Have a good one.
What's out?